Good evening, everybody. The time is 6:30 PM. I'm going to call our meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance, please. Thank you. May we have roll call, please?
Mayor Jeffrey,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Strzok,
Present.
Trustee Bristow, Trustee Westcott,
Here.
Trustee Moya,
Here.
Thank you. You all have the agenda in front of you this evening. Is there a motion to approve it?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
A second.
We do have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion regarding the agenda? Okay. All those in favor of approving our agenda, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? All right, we have approved our agenda. Several proclamations for this meeting tonight as well. The first one is for National Police Week. In 1962, President Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day and the calendar week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. And whereas the members of the law enforcement agency of the town of Lochbuie play an important role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of our community. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their police department, and that members of our department recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, protecting them against violence or disorder, and protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. And whereas our police department has grown to be a modern and scientific law enforcement agency which unceasingly provides a vital public service. Therefore, I, Mayor Jamie Jeffrey, and board members of the town of Lochbuie urge our citizens to join in commemorating law enforcement officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their communities have established for themselves the rights and security of all citizens. I do give a lot of appreciation to our police department tonight. Thank you for the work that you do. I don't see anybody here wishing to say a word or two on their behalf. My next proclamation is in regards to Public Service Week. Bless you. Whereas National Public Service Recognition Week is an opportunity to express gratitude and appreciation for the hard work and commitment of our public servants across all levels of government. And whereas public servants work tirelessly with dedication, integrity, and compassion to uphold the public good, inspire trust and confidence, and enhance the quality of life for all residents. And whereas public servants represent a diverse array of occupations, including but not limited to administrative services, accounting and finance, public works and utilities, community and economic development, police and first responders, and countless others. And whereas some public servants are very visible in the community, others work behind the scenes to ensure that services are available to residents and processes are open and accessible to the public. And whereas public service is a noble calling involving a variety of challenging and rewarding professions, and highly skilled and trained individuals offer their knowledge, effort, and expertise in support of the public good. And whereas without these public servants, continuity would be impossible in a democracy that regularly changes its leaders and elected officials. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Jamie Jeffrey, Mayor on behalf of the town of Lochbuie, do hereby proclaim May 3rd through 9th, 2026 as National Public Service Recognition Week, and encourage all residents to join me in honoring and recognizing the dedication, professionalism, and sacrifice of our public servants at all levels of government. My big thanks to all of our town employees and staff members for the work that you do for the better of Lochbuie each and every day. Thank you so much. Finally, Economic Development Week. Whereas more than 100,000 economic development and related professionals worldwide are committed to creating, retaining, and expanding top-tier opportunities that foster long-term equitable community growth. And whereas for generations, the economic development profession has cultivated thriving neighborhoods, championed sustainability and resiliency, strengthened economic prosperity, enhanced quality of life, and built robust tax bases. And whereas economic development professionals operate across diverse environments, including rural, suburban, and urban communities, local, state, provincial, and national governments, public-private partnerships, chambers of commerce, institutions of higher education, and similar organizations and associations. And whereas economic development professionals serve as stewards of progress, connecting residents, business leaders, elected officials, industry executives, and educational institutions to advance job creation, community investment, infrastructure improvements, and long-term opportunity. And whereas economic developers contribute to the continued strength and vitality of the town of Lochbuie, Colorado, building on past achievements while shaping a resilient and prosperous future. And whereas since 1926, the International Economic Development Council and its preceding organizations have advanced the profession globally, marking 100 years of leadership dedicated to fostering growth, innovation, inclusion, sustainability, and resilience in communities of all sizes. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Lochbuie, Colorado hereby recognizes Economic Development Week and celebrates 100 years of impact, reflecting on the progress achieved, honoring the professionals who strengthen our communities today, and inspiring the next century of economic opportunity and growth. Thank you. All right, we will move into public comment. Anybody wishing to give public comment this evening? No slips. I see a couple of people online. If anybody was hoping to speak, please raise your hand. Do I see one hand raised? Is that what that says? Thank you. Good evening. I see a hand raised. You may unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. The name I see on the screen is Du Den. You are unmuted. Can you speak? I do see your hand raised, but I cannot hear you saying anything. May, will you say something if you unmute, just so we can see if it's working?
Sure, I can do that.
Sure, I can do that. I heard you. Thank you. Are they able to put something in the chat? Is there a chat option? No? Okay. I don't show that you're muted, so if you could unmute and try to speak, that would be good. If you're on a phone, you might have pressed the mute button where you dialed in. Yeah, if you would try to send an email to either myself or Heather Bowen, we would love to hear your comments. Thank you. All right, for our consent agenda this evening, we have payment approval report in the amount of $481,555.88 and the minutes from our meeting on April 21st. Is there a motion to approve our consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
With a motion and a second, anybody wishing further discussion? All those in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, we have approved our consent agenda. Moving on, action item 8A, Resolution 2026-15 and Resolution 2026-16 concerning a vacancy on the Board of Trustees. Before we begin, I would like to give Trustee Westcott a moment of personal privilege.
Thank you. I have the sad news to report. Well, it's actually pretty exciting for my family. We're going to be moving out of state in a few weeks, probably in a month or so. And so I am going to be resigning from the town board. And I just state that it's been a pleasure to work with all of you. And I'll miss the opportunity to serve my community. Thanks.
Well, I will speak for myself and say that I'm sad to see you go. I'm excited about the new opportunities for your family. Your presence on the board has always been a blessing, and I will just say personally, Jade wouldn't be graduating if it hadn't have been for a lot of your support at the high school as well. So much love and appreciation to you, Trustee Westcott. So folks, we'll need to declare another vacancy, and those require resolutions, but I think it was pertinent to where we are in the agenda tonight to have a conversation, about it. I think our action tonight is still going to be to seat the two vacancies we knew of. But then we can talk about what we would like our process to be, or thoughts and ideas regarding Trustee Westcott's vacancy that's coming open. Okay, so bear that in mind. Heather, would you like to just give a little recap on where we are and what our next steps are for tonight, as best you can recall?
Sure. So last meeting, there were 5 candidates that were interviewed. There are 3 candidates here tonight, and I believe the board was just going to have a brief discussion if you wished to still discuss who you wanted to appoint and make the 2 appointments this evening. And then we can do the oaths of office as well.
Thank you. Open for discussion. Trustee Bristow?
I still feel strongly on the 2 that I selected last meeting, Michael and Shannon. But sadly, with May's, departure, we will miss you, May. That leaves another seat open for possibly one of the other applicants last time as well, so.
Mayor Pro Tem?
I'm still in the position I was last time. I favor Shannon Donnelly and Catherine H. Hunt.
Trustee Moya?
I am also in the same that I picked last week or last meeting, which was Michael and Catherine.
Trustee Westcott?
I appreciate the extended time. I've had time to go back and look at my notes and think about this more clearly. And with that, I would put forward Shannon Donnelly and Catherine Hunt.
All right. You had those same two? Shannon and Catherine?
Yes.
You had Shannon and Catherine.
Shannon.
You had Shannon and Michael. We have a three-way tie, folks.
The other one.
Should do. Well, we could choose to do that.
Third person.
We could, I believe, right? Could we just choose the third person tonight?
The vacancy was just announced just this now? Not prepared for that question. Let me think about that for a second. I would, just because the circumstances has changed a little bit, and I think it would be, more prudent to open it up again, and announce it again as a new vacancy. That would be my advice, just because it's based on new circumstances. And also, per the board's direction, at the next board meeting, in the board procedures will be a proposed procedure to fill a vacancy. And so I'm not sure how much that matters, but I was gonna mention that later, but now it seems germane. But my guidance would be to announce a new vacancy and fill it subsequent to this meeting.
Okay. I think any of our candidates that we interviewed would be great assets to the board. I honestly didn't pick who my top two were because I generally am not one who makes motions for said things. So I believe there's a commonality. There's not really. This is why we need a process and a procedure, because now we're at the point where somebody's going to make a motion. We'll see if it gets seconded, then we'll see if there's a majority to approve the candidate, and we'll go from there. So, guys want to rock, paper, scissors for who makes the motion, or?
I think based on the numbers, Catherine and Shannon.
So is that you making a motion for one of the trustees to be Catherine? Because that's who you mentioned first.
No, I mentioned Shannon, so I
Okay.
can make a motion for that.
Go ahead.
I move to approve resolution 2026-15, appointing Shannon Donnelly to the Lockboy Board of Trustees.
Okay, there is a motion.
Second.
Is there a second? I hear a second from trustee Westcott. Is there any further discussion regarding Shannon Donnelly as a trustee? Regarding this motion, seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Trustee Bristow,
Yes.
trustee Moya,
Yes.
trustee Westcott,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Strock,
Yes.
Mayor Jeffrey.
Yes. Shannon, congratulations. All right, let's continue on and do our second resolution. We can swear them both in at the same time. Is there a motion? Go ahead.
I make a motion. I move to approve resolution 2026-16, appointing Catherine Hunt to the Lockbowie Board of Trustees.
Second.
With a motion and a second, looking for further discussion regarding appointing Catherine Hunt. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Westcott,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Strock,
Yes.
Trustee Moya,
Yes.
Trustee Bristow. Mayor Jeffrey.
Yes. All right, Catherine, congratulations. I know you're on Zoom. I hear you got to go to a different state on deployment. That sounds fun. All right, do you want to do the swearing in? Okay. And before we do that, Michael, and all of the other people that expressed interest, we have one more coming. So be watchful and please put your name forward again. And regardless of what that outcome is, know that every November we're electing people. So, we are glad to have your interest and involvement and, reach out with any questions or concerns and still be active.
I, Shannon, do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Colorado, and the laws of the State of Colorado, and the town of Lockbowie, and will faithfully perform the duties of the office of trustee upon which I am about to enter to the best of my ability. Great. Thank you.
Catherine, are you?
I'm
Able
I'm
to-
here. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yep, I can hear you now.
All right, I'm here.
Awesome.
I don't have a fancy paper, but can I just say me too?
We'll try and do it a little bit more formally.
Of course.
Heather will do it a line at a time for you.
Perfect.
Can you hear me?
I can.
All right, are you raising your right hand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I state your name.
I, Catherine Hunt,
Do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and of the town of Lockbowie,
and of the town of Lockbowie,
and will faithfully perform the duties
and will faithfully perform the duties
of the office of trustee
of the office of trustee
upon which I am about to enter to the best of my ability.
upon which I am about to enter to the best of my abilities.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations to both of you. We're glad to have you here. I would suggest as a best next step, I assume that Mr. Rivera and probably Mr. Euchert will reach out to you very soon to try and schedule some time to meet with you and potentially bring you up to speed on some things. All right, let's move on to action item 8B, the public hearing for ordinance 2026-716, adopting the 2024 building codes. Shall I go ahead and open it? The time is 6:54 PM and I am opening our public hearing. Mrs. Maley.
I'm not hearing anything. Paula, is your mic on?
Thank you. I'm so used to having it near me. You may recall on April 7th, we had originally planned to present the building code, but after as we prepared for that date, we determined that there were several items that needed to be revised within the ordinance and also add in the wildfire resiliency code and make some changes in regarding the solar or the energy, electric energy codes and such. At that meeting, we had requested to continue the hearing to May 7th. That was announced publicly, but that was an error. We should have said May 5th. Today is May 5th, having it at our regular board meeting. But since we had that error in speaking that night, it was best to reschedule the official public hearing and republish that notice in the paper. And so we have done that, and we will hold hopefully the final public hearing for the consideration of ordinance 2026-716 in regards to the building codes on May 19th. And that has been published in the paper, and everything is in the works for everything to go well for that date. So with that, we were asked for a continuance to a date certain of May 19th, 2026.
Thank you. So we're looking for a motion to continue the public hearing
I
on
mo-
May 19th, 2026.
I move to continue the public hearing to a date certain of May 19th, 2026 for ordinance 2026-716.
I second that motion.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Jeffrey,
Yes.
trustee Moya,
Yes.
trustee Westcott,
Yes.
trustee Bristow,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Strack,
Yes.
trustee Donnelly,
Yes. Thank you. We have continued the public hearing to May 19th, 2026 at 6:57 PM. Oh, should we have asked for trustee Hunt's vote as well? Sorry about that.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, the motion carries. Discussion item, State Highway 52 and Weld County Road 59 roundabout project. Mr. Ukert.
Thank you very much. I was going to try and, for everybody's benefit, share the map that pops up, or the drawing rather. So the CDOT, Weld County, and the Weld County RE3J School District have undertaken a plan to put a roundabout right by the high school to alleviate the traffic issues that frequently happen there. And they have a design for it, and there's now funding it is underway. And I've shared also the funds that the different groups are bringing to the project. When I wrote the memo, they were about $3,600,000 and change short. Our representative, Curtis Weller, who attends those meetings, received a request from CDOT to come and talk to our elected officials to see if there might be any chance to help with that shortfall. Since that meeting, I've been in touch with Evan Pinkham. He's a Weld County Transportation Planning Manager, and they applied for $3 million in congressional directed spending, and that has been put on the list. It made it into the to be advanced. it still remains to be seen whether all of that, some of that, or none of that will be funded. And those are for fiscal year 27. But the federal fiscal year is not a calendar year. So if they're successful with that and they get all of those funds, they'll still be about $600,000 short. So I wanted to bring this up, have a discussion, but also remind the board that we all know the condition of our general fund, and specifically the funds that we have allocated for street and transportation projects. Those funds are also allocated and pledged for projects. And I'll be happy to turn it over to Kevin if you want to add a little more specifics to that.
So the two items that potentially would have funding for such a request would be our capital outlay fund, which currently is funding the County Road 39 culvert and the road across it. And that project is nearing completion, but by the time it's all said and done, it will deplete that budget that we had in that line item. And then the other one is the repair and maintenance fund that will go towards crack seal, mastic, patching, some milling and overlay that we want to do this summer and fall through our town. And we'll be bringing those projects back to the board here in the near future also. So the funding isn't, there's not a big buffer in there that we have a whole lot of money that it's tough to isolate some dollars and say we're okay sending some their way. So that's just the public works side of things and a little understanding of those two budget items that we have planned right now.
Thank you. Does anybody have questions?
You have one question. Do we know what percentage of Lochbuie has students that go to the school? Or anything of that nature, like in that school district or that frequent and go to the school? Do we know that?
I don't have that off the top of my head, but they or Jamie might.
I mean, that is our school
That's what I was
district. And
thinking.
so until just this year that's about to end, all kids in grades 6 through 12 would go out to those campuses. They are in transition they created Lochbuie Intermediate Academy. And so eventually grades up through 8 that live in Lochbuie would stay here in Lochbuie, or they could opt to go over there. But still all of grades 9 through 12, that is our home school and our school district. So, and honestly, having been at that corner as the principal at the middle school for 7 years, I can tell you that a high percentage of the accidents that we saw there were kids that were driving, because that highway is such an unsafe intersection and it has such heavy traffic. So I testified, I had meetings, I tried to get a light put in there all 7 years that I was there. So I'm thrilled to see the roundabout. I know we don't as a town have the money, but I sure wish that we could chip in.
Thank you.
I suggest we do a ton of Lochbuie car wash to raise the money. But not this year, water.
Trustee Westcott, anything you would add? I see your hand is up.
Yeah, I would second. I'm out there every day, and what Mayor Jeffrey said is definitely true. It's been identified for a long time as a problem area, but I do want to ask that given the current Facilities Committee recommendations to the Board of Education, how is that going to impact the traffic patterns? So my understanding, and I don't know that it's gone before the board for a vote yet, but the messaging that went out from the school district was that they are recommending that Weld Central Middle School be closed and that the current high school be turned into a 7 through 12 facility that would service mostly Keensburg and Hudson. And then they would begin to work towards building a 7 through 12 campus in Lochbuie. And like I said, that's the recommendation that they're making to the board. Obviously, that's going to depend a lot on funding, but it just makes me wonder, is that, in the next couple of years that it would take to complete this project, is that going to significantly affect this traffic pattern?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question.
I could reach out to the superintendent because he has mentioned what May mentioned, contingent upon several things. So I'm sure he'd be happy to come and give an update to the board on that question and the other things that have mentioned from the facilities committee.
Yeah, I think that sounds great, actually. Thank you. Anybody else have questions regarding this? Anything else you guys wanted to share regarding this? Okay, let's move into staff and attorney updates. Mr. Rivera, anything for us tonight?
I have two updates. The first, it will have the subjects are basically the board procedures and the Metro District. So I'll begin with the Metro District, and then I'll talk a little bit about the upcoming board procedures. So I spoke with the district's council today, the Metro District's council, and I'll give you the update that was shared with me. A non-resident board member resigned, creating a vacancy. That has already happened. The Metro District posted notice of the vacancy, and they posted it on, I think, posting like what we do, kind of a piece of paper on the website, as well as Facebook and postcards to all the folks in the subdivision. And they have set up a process whereby they're receiving applications online, and folks may self-nominate. And the nominations are accepted until this Friday. And then next week, and over the next 2 weeks, they will begin the process of filling the vacancy. And they fill the vacancy in the process that's very similar to the process that we use to fill vacancies. So they will fill that vacancy, I believe, on Monday the 11th or Tuesday the 12th. And they will then pass a resolution. The hope is to pass a resolution that aligns with your direction, subject to your approval, and we'll hear that on the 19th. But I wanted to just give that update. There's a lot of moving parts still, but it also sounds like there's progress.
Thank you for that update. Anybody have questions regarding the Metro District? Okay, item number 2.
Okay, thank you. It's about the board procedures that I mentioned before. I will make sure I meet with Trustee Hunt and Trustee Donnelly to bring them up to speed. But as you know, we've gone through those and basically approved them in sections. And the hope is to approve them at the next meeting as a whole with 2 new sections. The new section that I referenced earlier, which is about how to fill vacancies. And then a new section about evaluation of the town attorney and the town administrator. It seemed to me that it made a lot of sense to make that a part of the process as well. We're looking at a kind of a road book, a rule guide, something that is done the same way every time. Those pieces made a lot of sense to add them to them. So with your permission, I'll add those 2 pieces, and I'll get something to you early next week, and I'll make some effort to I will reach out to Trustee Hunt and Trustee Donnelly and anybody else who would like to take some time to have me walk through the things that we've done thus far. But the hope would be that we would pass it at the next, approve the board procedures at the next board meeting, and have that be our document that guides us. Obviously, it won't solve every problem, and maybe it won't solve some of the problems that we hoped in the way that we hoped. But I think would be helpful and wise to get it on the road and see how it operates.
Thank you. Anybody have questions?
I just want to comment, I'd be happy to look over the vacancy procedure because I also was part of one in Aurora and I know it's happening in Greeley as well. So happy to give like feedback on that before we present it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Other staff members? Anybody, did you guys have anything you wanted to mention tonight?
I have some news to share. I have submitted my letter of resignation. My last day will be the board meeting on May 19th, and then I will start the next day at my new organization, which is Adams County. So, with great regret, but it personally had to make a decision that would be beneficial for my family. But it's been a pleasure serving all of you these last 15 months. It felt, we made some strides and I hope to finish off a few more things in the next week or so and hopefully set some more things up for success as I depart.
I'm very sad to see you go, but wish you nothing but the best. Yes, Mrs. Bowen.
Just wanted to update you. I received the liquor license application renewals from Quick Trip and Lock Bowie Liquors, and those have both been approved and set for another year.
Thank you. Letzinger?
A quick, sorry, just a quick update on the Advisory Youth Council. We have posted it. It is running quite frequently. However, we have not received any applicants at this time. So share the word if you're out and about and get some in this week.
Thank you. Mr. Ukert.
Thank you. Just a quick mention that our spring cleanup day is Saturday, May 16th. So I know that we've had a steady flow of residents getting those vouchers. So hopefully we have a good turnout and we can get some of those things cleaned up and taken away to the landfill. The other thing I wanted to mention is I sent a memo before the meeting and I think I'll do another screen share with one of the charts. This is a follow-up about our watering restrictions. We've been meeting with staff and our consultants on this. Things at once here. Let me share. And second. So what we're recommending and what I mentioned last time was the level 2 mandatory restrictions, which are basically 2 days a week based on your address and type. Your address, even numbered would be Sunday and Thursday. Odd numbers are Wednesday and Saturday. HOA Metro District properties, Tuesday and Friday. And then they do have town facilities, parks and schools sprinkled into that. No outdoor watering on Monday and no outdoor watering any day between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. And the reason for going to those level 2 restrictions, as I mentioned last time, and I'll refer to the chart, is you can see on the top lines from May, we're pumping more water than we typically do on our historical average. It's at 18%. And so using that number as a trend, you can see, historical max and what we're projecting. I know that it's kind of the same color there. The projected well pumping is the top line. That blue historical max is the black lower line. So we're above that because it's a dry year. And then you can see the bars on the bottom. That's our projected augmentation delivery. And if we would just stick with what we think is going to happen now, you can see that as we get to August, we have a shortage of augmentation water. September, it gets a little more significant, and then October, we end up having none. We have run our Bell Mountain wells that are down south of Castle Rock, put them up Plum Creek and got them into storage. That's about 3.5 acre feet a day, but we can only run it for about 2 weeks with all the conditions down there. And he's not here tonight, but John from BBA kind of orchestrates all that, and it is it's challenging, but he really got it done. And we still have a couple contacts that we normally lease water from, but because of the dry year, we're all in the same position of not having any excess to commit right now. So this lower chart, figure 2, shows if we did a 5% decrease relative to our historical monthly maximum. And we kind of bend down that curve a little bit and lower our pumping. And we feel confident that if we can achieve that 5%, that we are in better shape in August and September. We have some issues in October, but at least we have time to be able to work on those things. So that's the reason that we want to go to level 2. As far as logistics on that, we would publicize all of this as quickly as we can, and these restrictions would be effective beginning Monday. That's May 11th, and because it's been some time or ever, if the town has had mandatory restrictions, what we want to do is just do our best job to get the word out, and not have any enforcement provisions until June 1st. And so the goal always being, just with code enforcement, same here, compliance, letting everybody know, as our code enforcement officer goes around and would notice things, hand out a little flyer, a sheet, and not kind of write a warning up or anything. So that's our plan, so that we can have water, so everyone can use water. Now, I want to point out one thing on this chart. You'll see that the lines up at the top, there's a space between the augmentation water and the pumping at the top. What that space represents, why they don't, touch, and then there's a white line, are the return flows. So the return flows are basically everything that goes into the sewer system from your house and everywhere, and then ends up at the wastewater treatment plant. And so with that, the reason we need augmentation water is because we have obligations to put water back into the BB draw basin. And so that's why we do augmentation water. That's why we need it. And so that's why the gap is there. So it's not apparent. And I even had to ask and confirm on what that was and why there was a gap. So we have been prioritizing securing more permanent augmentation water a variety of things that we're doing. We have drilling of wells planned, which will also help. Nothing will be a given for this year to get us out of that. But again, we have a great team working on options and contacts to see what we can do. But starting with restrictions, mandatory restrictions, we feel is important so that we can make our supply last as much as we can. I know that's a lot to take in, so I'm happy to try to answer any questions.
Anybody have questions?
Our water restrictions are the most stringent in all the counties. Just taking a look at Adams, Lakewood, Denver, Arvada, Westminster, Weld. And just looking at the hours of watering compared to other counties, we are very stringent, a little bit off. I'm not sure I agree with the hours of watering on this. I get we need the timeline, and I understand that no enforcement is going to be taken until June 1st. However, sitting here at this meeting and then hitting on our residents for next week seems kind of soon. Just my comments.
Thank you for sharing those cities. We have Denver Water, Aurora, and Brighton are doing 2 days a week. And their restrictions, they were targeting a 10 to 20% reduction. And so that's where we kind of patterned that after. But remember, everybody's water system is different. So there may be other reasons they have less. And the hours and the days are in our municipal code. It's not me or staff coming up with these. Those are our options right now in our municipal code.
Anybody else have
Just
questions?
seems like maybe, I don't know how we go about that in future, but just taking a look at the watering hours in every other county except ours, maybe the municipal code should be looked at.
Does anybody else have questions?
Yeah, I guess I have one question. You say that we're gonna let our residents know. What are the methods that we usually do for that?
Usually put it on our website and social media. We have, I believe we have some room in our, in a newsletter and then maybe on the utility bills. Are there any channels that I'm not thinking of?
Also just have some printouts in the lobby for people that walk in, but I think
We may want to consider a mailer to the homes. I mean, I know that's a bit costly, but that's something we could also consider, considering how important this is.
I would suggest, since it's not all of our residents, but a high percentage of our residents live in an HOA or a metro district, asking their organization to send it out in their email blast in their channel, that should not be a significant expense for them. They've already got that created. They just send it out. I would ask that we ask them to communicate that, because they're going to need to know it anyway, because they have their community areas that they're going to be watering.
Yeah, and I think the utility bill is what I was wondering, if we're putting any information on that, because obviously they're looking at their water costs, and the idea that they're going to read that and giving these restrictions on there would be really, I think, important as well.
I think providing the code enforcement officer, I'm sorry, with, the schedule or anything like that. So when they do come across a house that is, out of compliance, they can just be like, you might not have known, here you go.
I would suggest, as it was suggested earlier, that Monday seems a little bit soon. All of the methods that were listed were one that would probably not reach me in my household. Just, I don't read my utility bills. They're automatically withdrawn from my account. Um, so anything else we can do that's a little bit more maybe out of the box might be welcome, even if it's like a banner at the corner by the quick trip or something along those lines, just something visible. Just because, I mean, I'm not on social media very often. I wouldn't read my utility bill, that kind of thing, or the bulletin.
Thank you. That's a good suggestion. Trustee Westcott?
Sorry, AJ, if you mentioned this and I just didn't hear it, I apologize, but I think it's really important for us as a board to understand what the consequences are for us if we don't meet these augmentation obligations.
That's a great question. I don't really believe I mentioned that. I asked the question on our meeting on Monday. So you see the white line, the projected shortage. I said, does this mean that our storage tanks cannot be filled? And, not only can you do no outdoor watering, but you have no water going to the homes. And the legal answer was, no, we can still pump and fill that up. We are just not meeting our obligations to augment water that we have in our various agreements and stipulations and legal documents. So I don't know. I mean, I guess on the extreme side, the state could get involved and take some action. The agreements that we have with, or the rules and stipulations that we're under, the people that are a party to those could call us on it. I don't know specifically what would happen, what would be the outcome or the result. I mean, we would have physical water. We would just be in violation of several things.
Does that mean we'd be fined? I mean, I think you just said you don't know, but that would be where my mind goes, is that we get fined for not meeting our obligations, but Joe might know better than me because I'm not a lawyer.
I'm not a water lawyer, but my understanding is that basically these are court orders that require the town to contribute specific amounts of water. And to the extent that the town does not live up to those court-ordered requirements, is to the extent the town is in violation of court orders, and that's a potentially scary proposition. In addition, and there may be additional consequential damages related to not satisfying our contractual requirements. And so I won't speculate anything past that, but at the very least, we would be violating court orders. And not living up to our obligations may have other negative consequences.
Thank you. And I have one more question, AJ. In your 20 years, I think it's 20 years, right? Experience, town government. Have you ever seen a water situation this dire?
Not related to the weather. I was mostly in the Northern Water system, which it has some pretty good storage in it. They're even running dry. Ours was due, the one we had that we had to really have no watering was due to a water main break that was significant. And then during the flooding in 2012, 2013, we were all in the tri-towns, had another line break because the flooding went across I forget what, St. Vrain River. And so again, we were, you're without water. So had restrictions, but not related to the climate, in my experience.
Okay, I wanted to get a fair sense because I do think that understanding the consequences of what we're talking about is really important in terms of making decisions. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead.
So my last comment would be understanding the drought, understanding the severity under court order, severity for the town, severity for the state. However, if we're going to possibly penalize our residents for not following these rules, I feel like although it's an expense, we really need to send out a postcard to each of the residents because again, my water bill is just paid automatically. I don't look at it. I have to pay. I need water. I need to pay it. So it doesn't matter what the cost is. I pay it. I don't look at my water bill. I'm on social media, yes, so I would see it there, but not everybody is. And I wouldn't come to town hall unless I'm here. So if I didn't have this job, I wouldn't be here. So again, only because of the severity of maybe somebody getting a fine. If we are going to fine them, then I feel we need to do our due diligence to make sure every household gets a mailer, letting them know that this is our requirement.
I would also want to comment, is there a way that we could say that they first get a warning and then the summons or complaint is the second piece? Do we have that in our code at all? Or is that something we could implement just for this where, yeah, I'm sorry, after June 1st, that they could still receive a first warning and then the enforcement?
So, yeah, that was and I apologize if I didn't make that clear. That was, and I mean, this can be moved to the following Monday. I mean, because just to get the word out when it starts, and the intent wasn't to write anybody a ticket, until that June 1st date. But yeah, our police department always has discretion to do that. It's not a policy, but they do have discretion. We don't want to make people upset. We want to really give them information and say, boy, we're all in this together. And if we want to, have water supply and extend it, the better we can all do, we can. So they'll have that discretion, and it's not here's your ticket, what it is. It's a court process. So people have to come in and then they get to, talk to the judge or the prosecutor or what it is. But we want to make it, we don't want to upset people. We really want to kind of put a carrot out there and only use the stick when people are just like, whatever, I can do what I want. My grass is this, I just put these plants in. So just with any kind of code enforcement issue, they would have that discretion, and we wouldn't want to just go out and start, hey, your sprinkler's on. So I know that's not concrete, but that's what we would work at internally to make sure that we're trying to do the best we can in this situation.
No, that makes sense. And I guess I do have one more comment, is that would level 2 watering restrictions get us to figure 2? Is that kind of the expectation? Do we know what percentage of water we would actually be able to decrease with level 2, or we don't know that yet?
We've projected a 5% decrease
Okay,
with
great.
this, using the available data that we have, and our utility department gives that data to our water team and consultants regularly. So that's what we're projecting with this level.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Trustee Westcott, I see your hand.
Yeah, I think I think this is a question. I'm an English teacher. I should know what a question is. But anyway, I'm just thinking about practicalities here and the cost of mailing things out. And I'm just wondering, is that cost effective versus just issuing warnings to people who are not doing it correctly? Or I just think about the stuff that I get in the mail and I don't even look at it. It just goes in the trash. And unfortunately, stuff like that is part of it. So I just wonder what would be more cost effective given our budget situation. I think that's a question.
It is a question. You know, outreach to the community is just a perpetual issue. We try what we can. I think the mailers, are a good idea, and we could design them to be eye-catching to the extent we can. And these will come from our water fund, which is a bit healthier than our general fund. So I'm going to put Stephanie on the spot for a minute and ask, I know she's looked into this before, maybe there's a rough figure on doing a mailer to everybody's house?
Well, he didn't do one in over a year. So with the increase in costs, don't hold me to it, but I'm going to guess around $3,000, including postage and print. And just so you know, if we do a black and white versus a 4-color PMS, there is no difference in charge. So if you do see it now with direct press, it's the same price to load it up with color. So we can do that. And I recommend we do translate, as we know from our feedback before that we do need to translate to our resident mailings. So, I'll get that figured out.
So I guess not my last comment. This might be my last comment, Mr. Ukert. So I like your question, but I also feel that cost effectiveness and accountability are two different things. And if we want our residents to be accountable for following these rules and possibly having to pay a due for these, not following these rules, then as the town, we need to be accountable to ensure to the best of our ability that every resident gets something in one way or another. And I just think if the mailer is I guess I can't say 100% because we have to depend on the mail, the US mail, but should be in theory a 100% accountability that every resident, we will do our due diligence to make sure every address gets the same message, not hoping that they're on social media or hoping that they stop by town hall or hoping they see it somewhere. Comment.
Thank you. Anybody else? I would just say, I don't think we should spend money on it. I think that, that we get the word out to the best of our ability. I think that we start with a plan of educating people. If we're seeing that it's an issue, say, hey, by the way, did you notice that, your neighbor's lawn's a little bit yellower than yours or has been in years past? It's because we have water restrictions in place. It's because we want to make sure we have enough water for people to drink. So here's what is in effect. Please make sure you start complying with this. Then if they don't, then we can go to the next level. But I don't see that we're going to, number one, have staffing that are going to be driving down the road every single day to see who's watering when it's not their day of the week to water. I say we don't spend the money. That's my personal opinion. I think it's money we don't need to spend. Go ahead.
I just with the timing, just a quick thing, we could print out flyers and hand them out at cleanup day. That would get some more people that maybe if we're not
Yeah,
mailing.
just sent that as a suggestion. I think it's a great one, having just even little quarter sheet papers that you give people when they come for cleanup day. I thought it was a great idea. Love it. Great minds. All right. Did you have anything else tonight?
I did not.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's move into mayor and trustee comments. Trustee Bristow.
I don't have anything tonight. Thank you.
Trustee Moya.
Yes, I would like to just let Paula and May know I'm very sad you're both leaving. It's been great working with both of you, and I wish you both the best in your future endeavors. Also, with that said, May, you were not supposed to leave me with the youth council. You're a teacher. I needed you. So with that, looking at the board, there should be an open, I guess, position to assist with the youth council as we move forward. I don't know how we go about that, if we have to vote it in at another date, but just FYI, it was going to be myself leading and May assisting. And so since she's leaving, I would surely appreciate a backup. And those are all the updates that I have. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Strzok.
Yeah, I kind of have a lengthy thing here I'd like to point out. You know, at some point, it's not who is right or who is wrong, but how can we solve our problem together? At the April Sewer Board meeting, Brighton board members addressed their concern that the $100 million plus price tag was extremely out of reasonable expectations. I would like you to note that from the beginning, Brighton has disagreed with the sewer plant upgrade costs. Therefore, they may never approve any future plant investment fees. During that discussion, Mr. Lemke suggested a peer review of the sewer plant upgrade. I think this is exactly what needs to be done. We need to check the scope and project estimate of upgrading the plant from 2.8 million gallons per day to 4 million gallons per day by getting another opinion or a peer review. Mr. Lemke also suggested a quick Google search. The average cost of upgrading a sewer plant from 2.8 million gallons per day to 4 million gallons per day. The capacity increase is 1.5 million gallons per day. That typically falls into a range of 13 million to over 20 million based on industry standards. This is a big difference between the $100+ million estimate that we have. This concerns me, and I believe the town needs to conduct a peer review. I truly believe if the cost of the expansion was more reasonably affordable, thus agreeable with Brighton Sewer Board members, and if we could prove to Brighton that it costs less to invest in the Lock Buoy sewer plant upgrade and continue their flows through Lock Buoy than to redirect their flows to Metro. This will benefit Brighton and Lock Buoy through collaboration. So I'm asking for the board's approval of this request and for directing of the staff.
So are you making a motion in your comments tonight to see if somebody will?
Yes, I would make a motion to see if we could do a peer review of the sewer plant.
Can I make a comment?
First, we have to see if somebody's willing to second
I'll
the motion.
second.
Trustee Westcott seconds, and then we will open for discussion. Trustee Hunt, go ahead.
Yeah, so I actually in my day job, right, this week approved a wastewater treatment upgrade plan, right? That's what I did this week. And the $100 million estimate is way above what we just approved for this community that's multiple times bigger than Brighton and Lock Buoy together. And so I agree with the mayor pro temps wanting to do a peer review and some cost evaluation.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak either in favor of or in opposition to this motion? Trustee Westcott.
I guess I just have a couple of financial questions. One is, how much is that going to cost? What fund is it going to come out of? Is the cost going to be shared? I think it's a good idea. But before I vote in favor or against it, I want to know a price tag.
Thank you. I think my question to go along with that would be, is it this body that approves that peer review, or is it the sewer board that approves the peer review, or is it both? And bless you.
I'll mention a couple things for the discussion. At the sewer board meeting, we did commit to do that peer review, and so we do plan to do that. The 100 million number is a little bit controversial. We never got to the point past the kind of the 30% plans to really go with some numbers. What Aqua used was kind of just per gallon numbers based on some similar project or some projects that were recently completed in the area. But we, to use Trustee Moya's term, we do need to sharpen the pencil. And so we committed to the sewer board to do that. And so we will. To try and answer May's question about how much that will cost, I'm not sure. We can, get what information we have to a company that does that work and see what they would charge us for that. But so just some comments to.
So if it's happening, do we need to vote on it then?
I don't see any harm in it, but I just wanted to let everybody know that we made that commitment.
Perfect. Any further discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Bristow,
Yes.
Mayor Jeffrey,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Strzok,
Yes.
Trustee Moya,
Yes.
Trustee Westcott,
Yes.
Trustee Hunt,
Yes.
Trustee Donnelly.
Yes.
Awesome, the motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Strzok. Anything else in your comments tonight?
No, congratulations for our new board members, and I'm glad you're here, and welcome to the arena.
Trustee Hunt, anything for you tonight?
Just thank you for your vote of confidence. I hope that I live up to your expectations.
Thank you. Trustee Donnelly?
I just wanted to say thank you. And Paula, I am sad to see you go. I was looking forward to maybe working with you. So thank you so much. And board trustee Westcott as well. I'm sad to see you go. So thank you guys so much.
Trustee Westcott?
A couple of things. First of all, I did reach out to the schools with the information about the Youth Advisory Council. Those messages went to counselors and to principals, but it's a busy time of the year and it may just have gotten buried. So I will try and get some copies made and distributed to sophomore and junior classes at the high school. I think that might help with the recruitment piece of that. I'm not sure what we're going to do if our May 15th deadline hits and nobody's applied, but I guess we just keep going forward. So I will do that. Just a reminder that I do sit on the sewer board as well. And we do have everybody. Well, at some point we made a motion to make everyone an alternate, but a lot of those people are now gone. So that might be an issue to take up at a future meeting. And Paula, thank you so much for the work that you've done. I know that you have worn a lot of different hats with your vast experience, and I appreciate the things that you have done for us. And I've really enjoyed being a member of the Board of Trustees. I've learned a lot from that experience, and I'm going to take that into my future. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. And I just, again, want to thank you, Trustee Westcott. I want to welcome you, Trustee Donnelly and Trustee Hunt, and I want to wish you well. Paula, you'll be missed, and look forward to our next discussion and getting the board procedures finally, hopefully approved that I set in motion, hard to believe, almost 2 years ago now. Really, really glad to finally see that coming to fruition. And again, like with being National Police Week, National Public Employee Appreciation, National Education Recognition Week, next week, National Nurses Week, like you know somebody in those industries, like just take a minute and just say thank you. Like go out of your way to do something a little bit extra. It is amazing, especially in this busy time of year, how much of a difference that makes for those people. I can speak from personal experience. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
I second it.
With a motion and a second to adjourn, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned at 7:51.